Have you checked out the new beans emoji yet?
I haven't updated my phone.
You never update your phone. It's because you want to leave yourself vulnerable to hackers.
Yep, that's why.
There's a beans emoji.
I know, I'm very excited about it. There's also a coral emoji.
Yeah, there are 37 new emojis, apparently. But beans is one of the most highly publicized new ones. It's one of their hot new emojis. It's 3 brown kidney-shaped beans. They have like a little eye in them. You know how beans have the little eye? They got one of those like in the concave part of the bean.
Yeah.
It's pretty detailed, good-looking emoji. I'm going to start sexting you these beans, that's for sure.
Well, it's just going to show up as a question mark with the box around it if you do it now.
Well, here are some other emojis that you won't, you don't have access to that maybe will encourage you to update your operating system. Melting face, saluting half face, which is half of a face longitudinally, and it's saluting.
I don't think I understand what that's for.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Melting face is obvious.
Yeah. There's biting lip, which is like a horny emoji.
Aren't there enough horny emojis? You don't even need to create horny ones. People will just turn regular ones horny.
We're skillful at repurposing regular emojis to make them horny.
There's not nearly enough screaming emojis. There's only one kind of screaming, and it's screaming in fear. And I can't believe they didn't fill that gap.
Yeah.
Or just screaming like into the void.
It looks like they've revamped their syringe emoji, which used to have red
liquid
blood, and now it's clear liquid.
Yeah, why would you want to get injected with blood?
That is confusing.
Like if you were getting a transfusion, it would be in a bag. It wouldn't be just like...
Well, I assume it's blood that was taken from you, not blood that is yet to be given to you in that syringe. But anyway, it's clear now, which I think implies, vaccine.
They understand that vaccine is the useful thing for that to convey. That it's an injection of blood is pretty confusing. I mean, that's not how they draw blood either, typically.
Right. Looks like they also have pregnant man and pregnant non-binary person, which has been the source of most of the right-wing rage in regards to this emoji collection. Because inevitably, you have to somehow inspire fury over these emojis.
I mean, I have to say, I do kind of just wish all human emojis were not gender specific.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I don't really understand
necessary.
Why they need to be gendered.
Right.
Like, I mean, they're representing a concept, like the concept of pregnancy or the concept of being. Is there a chef emoji? Yeah. But the concept of having some particular, of doing some kind of job or whatever. I don't know. Am I getting myself in trouble by saying this? I don't understand why they need to be so literal.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, everyone
like they're pictograms in some sense, right?
Right. Unless like I could see having an emoji that represents like a man or a woman if that's the concept you are looking to represent. But I agree with you that if you're looking to represent the concept of pregnancy, then I don't see why that needs to be like have a man, woman, or non-binary person attached to it. Same thing with occupations.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking through the professions for a quick minute here. I'm sorry, we've got beef eaters. That's what they're called, right?
Sure,
Palace, like the Queen's Guards.
How many emojis
and there are three versions of them. Like
boy, girl, non-binary beef eaters.
Yeah, how often does that come up? People are talking about beef eaters so often that they also need to specify the gender identity of the person wearing that ridiculous hat.
Look, all I'm saying is that I think because of this invented controversy that beans have flown under the radar a little bit here. But I think they're one of the hottest new emojis.
How come there's only one gender of clown? Clown is an actual job that people have. I'm just saying by analogy with chef and beefeater. But the clown is obviously not meant to be a person whose job is clowning. It's meant to be
a person whose
concept of clown.
Yeah, exactly.
But I just don't understand, why is that different from all these jobs?
Well, clowning isn't a profession as much as it is a passion.
I mean, there are people who are professional clowns.
Did I ever tell you that when I went to Catholic Bible summer school as a child, that they had a number of, I feel like I've given away the punchline here, but they had a number of activities, classes, I guess, that we could take when we were there. And they would all be sort of have the suffix sort of for Jesus. And you could do like acting, take an acting class for Jesus. There was music class, music for Jesus. There was cake decorating for Jesus. And then there was also clowning for Jesus. And I feel like this was extremely popular in the 60s and 70s for some reason. Clowning for Jesus.
That sounds like something that happened in the 70s, sure.
I just Googled clowning for Jesus. There is a book, Clowning for Christ, a step-by-step guide to becoming a unique Christian clown.
And did you take this class? Did you learn how to clown for Jesus?
Yeah, I did. And I think it was just mostly a class in putting on clown makeup.
In a God-honoring way.
I mean, we didn't go out on a street corner and yell at people as clowns or anything like that. Clown ministry, Clowns for Christ, spread God's message one balloon at a time. ShowMeClownsForJesus.com. I'm
sorry, that's the full Show Me Clowns for Jesus?
ShowMeClownsForJesus.com. Okay. A performing arts ministry convention. Oh, but it's not just clowning for Jesus. ShowMeClownsForJesus.com also has puppeteers for Jesus, magicians for Jesus, jugglers for Jesus, and mimes for Jesus.
Well, that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, even if the clown represents the concept of a clown, though, why are there 3 genders of vampire? Isn't that's not a job anyone has, right? There's no actual person who is a vampire.
Well, they deserve a salary like everybody does. You don't want to ask people to vampire for free.
I'm just saying that the clowns should be treated equally to
vampires.
To things. I mean, a clown is an actual job. A vampire is not.
Can you be a vampire for Jesus?
I guess Google it and find out.
It looks like there's a seminal New York Times article from 1989 titled "For Clown Ministry, Laughter is Gospel. Clowning around is not tolerated in most houses of worship." Wow, that's the sort of refined writing that we've come to expect from the paper of record.
Well, I found an article immediately from christiancentury.org entitled "Eat My Flesh, Drink My Blood. Are Vampires Jesus' Evil Twins?" There's also a YouTube video called "Was Jesus Christ a Vampire?" Jesus was the first vampire.blogspot.com.
All right, well, I have no transition.
Yeah, I was about to say I really don't know how to make this transition. Elegant transitions notwithstanding. You're Roman.
You're Allison, and this podcast for Christ is known as Seedy Business.
It's seedy business. It's seedy business.
I mean, I blew right by the concept of cake decorating for Jesus. Just another class we were offered as children.
Do you know, were the designs you
Holy?
Were encouraged? Were they religious?
Yeah, absolutely.
Theme? Okay. So you were cake decorating, you were creating imagery.
To glorify Jesus?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're really taught this idea that everything you do in life, you offer to Jesus. All your talents you offer to God. But I don't understand why that has to manifest in like 6 specific ways, 2 of which are cake decorating and clowning.
Well, those are definitely just the things that some random adult who went to that church thought they knew how to do well enough to teach some kids for one afternoon.
Yeah, exactly. If you had to teach something for Christ at a summer camp, what would it be?
Well, now that I know it's an option to teach clowning, I don't know why I wouldn't just do that despite knowing nothing about clowning, because it would be hilarious. You would just have a bunch of kids smear makeup all over their faces and then just run around.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds pretty good. I would probably do pro wrestling for Jesus. Although I guess the Insane Clown Posse sort of already did that, right? Juggalos for the Juggalo Wrestling League is sort of for Christ,
for
I
Jesus,
guess.
For sure.
Okay, well, it is Sunday afternoon. We skipped I guess we didn't skip a week. We released a St. Patrick's Day short, but we skipped a week for big episodes. We're back this Friday. We're recording Sunday afternoon per usual. Beautiful day out there. I think a lot of the country has had their first warm weather. It's certainly been warm here. It's been in the 80s largely. Beautiful day out there. We're into daylight savings time now, so it is staying lighter later. Is there any, there's been a lot of dialogue about daylight saving time, excuse me, nerds. Daylight saving time. And the current effort in the Senate to make that true all year round, which sounds pretty appealing on the surface, but I guess there are a bunch of like arguments for standard time all year round in regards to like keeping the correct circadian rhythm.
I just really hope that we stop changing it, because the changing it thing.
Yeah, that sucks.
It truly sucks every time. Why does it have to suck for like 2 weeks out of every year when everyone is groggy and confused?
I'm not sure. Is there any consensus on how standard versus daylight saving time impacts home gardeners?
Wow, I hadn't even thought about it. But I guess if you're the type of gardener who likes to get a little gardening in before you go to your day job, then maybe you're disappointed because you're gardening in the dark in the morning.
I Googled home gardeners daylight saving time, and the first hit is, no, natural sunlight still shines the same length of time, whether you're in daylight saving time or standard time. Just in case you think that
terrifying that
changes the amount of sunlight that happens.
Terrifying that needs clarification.
What is going on in our own garden?
Then let us cultivate our garden. It's the only way to make life endurable.
What's in the garden?
Well, we have a nice crop of arugula.
Yeah, we're going to eat it today. We're going to eat our first arugula of the year today.
Yeah, we definitely could have had it sooner, but we just haven't been around.
On account of the marrying one another?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we were just physically out of town.
Yeah.
So, but that's about it. The strawberry plants look like they're waking up. I don't know what'll happen with them. They're not in the ground. You may recall they're in those fabric strawberry pots.
Yeah, you were
which I'm trying out, and
you were pretty down on those last year.
Yeah, I don't think they're a good solution here, but I guess we'll find out.
Well, last year when the strawberry plants were growing in those, they would sort of all die on one side. So it's a cloth pot that has like slits cut out of it, and you can put the plants in those slits all around the sides of the cloth pot as well as the top. And it looked like to me that all of the plants on like one side of each of the cloth pots were dying.
Yeah, and I would try to rotate the pots regularly, but it just wasn't enough. Getting them the right amount of sunlight just isn't feasible, at least in the way our yard is.
Yeah. Well, we'll let you know how the arugula tastes. I suspect it will be good. Boy, I wish we had a cat here to feed it to.
Yeah.
I wish that cat was Lucy the cat.
Yeah, it's almost 6 months.
It's almost 6 months since Lucy passed. I was starting to get sad, and then I was thinking about the sound she would make if we brought in Greens for the first time in a while, where it's just desperate screaming. Really, I've never heard a cat make such sounds of desperation.
Yeah, I really miss her.
Yeah. It's nice to have nice memories, too, that aren't immediately acutely painful. Maybe I'm at that point. I'm not sure.
You had a coworker a little while back whose pet died.
Yeah.
And they were really sad.
Yeah, they were really sad that day. And then the next day they had gotten a new pet already. Which is like, you know what? I affirm that. Like, I find it to be unrelatable, but if that is a thing that, brings someone joy to that sort of turnover, then I absolutely affirm it. I do not think it's bad. I'm not speaking ill of that behavior, but I do find it to be pretty, like, far apart from my, and I think your experience.
Yeah, it sounds like it would be extremely.
Just sounds like it'd be way too much to deal with. Yeah. All right. So this week's catalog is the Rohrer Seeds. Rohrer. Rohrer Seeds. Rohrer Seeds. Rohrer Seeds.
Rohrer Seeds.
Rohrer Seeds. So this is a catalog.
Rohrbacher is like an extremely common name in that. I mean, that's Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Right. You are from not terribly far away from there. Right. I might call it Lancaster.
Yeah. No, you'd be wrong.
I'd be wrong. Lancaster?
Lancaster. Yeah.
Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Amish country, right?
Yeah. Big time.
So this catalog was founded in 1919. So it is their, I guess, 103rd year or thereabouts. It's been a family owned the entire time. They are now in the 4th generation of Rohrer ownership. It's owned by Doug Rohrer since 2008. It was founded by his great-grandfather, P.L. Rohrer. Much like was true in our last episode with the Shell's Quality Seeds, the founder here worked at another seed company prior to founding. So P.L. Rohrer worked as the seed manager for Glick Plant Farm before branching on his own and starting this seed company. The retail store has been, in the same place for the last 100 years. As the region has been built up from, a very rural area to a more suburban and even urban commercialized region, so have their seed offerings expanded to include things that are more suitable for urban gardening, container gardening. They have a whole section in this catalog about container gardening that we may read during our CD short. Like most of the seed companies we profile, their business really bloomed during COVID. They grew 40% in 2020 versus 2019 and another 10% in 2021. They're printing about twice as many catalogs now as they were a few years ago. And it's a fairly substantial catalog, like we'll talk about. Another one of their big offerings are cover crop seeds. They have a whole cover crop seed section in this catalog, which we can go through. Seeds for sprouts and microgreens, as well as plantings for pollinators. What do you think about the physical catalog?
All right. Well, the front cover, I think, is nice. It's very simple. I think it looks a little dated. Like maybe they had their logo, their word mark designed and 10 or 15 years ago or something.
Yeah, I would say that's right. It doesn't look terribly dated, and it is a pretty clean, good design. But I think you're right.
It's totally fine.
It looks like a 10 years ago design to me.
I think it would have been exactly of the moment, in 2010 or something.
Mm-hmm.
The cover image is a picture of a bunch of different tomatoes in a little gathering basket on just a neutral background. And the information they give you is very simple. The name of the company, their web address, the year that this catalog is from, and their phone number.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not trying to trick you into thinking it's some sort of magazine or something.
Right, like a lot of them we've profiled recently. Yeah, the cover, you said it's on a neutral background. It's very light, almost almost white, or maybe it's just like overexposed or something.
I think it's a picture of the basket sitting on like a granite countertop or something that's, light beige and white.
Yeah, it does. It gives the sense of the tomatoes in the basket sort of floating in space. You would have to sort of take a double take to realize that it was on a surface, I think, as opposed to just hanging around in white empty space.
It's printed on glossy magazine, kaolinated paper, I guess.
Oh, I've never heard that term. Kaolinated?
I think that's how glossy paper is made. It's like paper that's had a
treatment.
It's had a very fine layer of clay applied to it.
Wow, I never knew that. Cool. How about internal design?
Okay, well, I'm just flipping through the first few pages here. I mean, it's all very standard. They've got some nice on their first page. I think they've got some nicely arranged tableau of the kinds of things they have, seed packets, but also coffee, books, cards. They're showing what you can buy in their store.
Yeah, their storefront.
Gardening gloves.
Yeah, they've been really publicizing. They have like locally roasted coffee. Like you said, they have books to buy. They apparently offer a lot of gardening supplies for kids at their storefront in Lancaster, which I think is fun. Like a gardening section of tools and gloves and whatever that are all kid sized and oriented towards kids seems like a very cool, unique niche.
And they've got a little table on that page that tells you what each code on the seed catalog number means. So there's some Rohrer Seed exclusives, but then they also have seeds from Baker Creek, Botanical Interest, Burpee, High Mowing Organic.
A lot of our favorites there, yeah.
Lake Valley, which I don't think we've ever looked at.
We've not looked at them.
Livingston, Renee's Garden, Seed Savers Exchange, and Southern Exposure Seed Exchange. So they've got a little key. Then they've got a table of contents that looks perfectly usable. And then when we get into the main catalog, so I'm just looking at pages 5 and 6 now. That's the container collection, which we're going to talk about, or we'll just read the descriptions you said for the short. But they've got a layout that they obviously put a lot of time into. There's some illustrations, like some either watercolor or
they do look like
colored
watercolor.
ink.
Yeah.
Illustrations of plants in pots and some empty pots waiting for plants. And then they also have these circular cutouts of different plants that are available in this group. And they're sort of artistically arranged, different sizes of circles sprinkled across the page, going in sort of a diagonal arc. Like they've clearly put time and effort into this layout. Then they've got a page of Amish Country Organics where the list of those varieties is surrounded by a thick border of illustrated crops. It's an illuminated manuscript.
Right. Then we finally get at page 9 the standard layout for the rest of the catalog, which is like 3-column format.
Yeah, I mean this is usable. They're giving us large enough margins. Everything's legible. They're using, little headings to separate different types of crops, and they're using bold sparingly just to name the variety, and then normal text under that for the descriptions. And then they've got photographs to illustrate selected varieties. They don't try to illustrate every single one, which seems reasonable. And the pictures they've chosen, I think, are overall nice. Yeah, I mean, I think the layout's good.
Let's get to page 19.
Yeah, I mean, it's
baffling.
Boy, that's really something weird, huh?
All right, page 19. Describe it to me.
All right. The background is a photograph showing...
Full page photograph.
Full page. Showing a bunch of carrots with the tops still on next to a carrot cake with walnuts on top. And a large slice has been cut out of the carrot cake and is sitting on a plate.
Delicious. Why would this full page photograph be placed here in the middle of this catalog?
So they've placed like a dark gray overlay on top of the photograph, and then like a transparent overlay to sort of dim it out. And then on top of that, they've written in white text in some like, I don't know, cutesy cupcake store kind of font, like a script font. Vegetables are a must on a diet. I suggest carrot cake, zucchini bread, and pumpkin pie. Attributed to Jim Davis, the creator of Garfield.
A fucking full page. A full page in the middle of this seed catalog devoted
to a Garfield joke?
Yeah, like, and a deeply unfunny, like, I don't know, this would be like on like a Weight Watchers catalog would have this quote on it or something. I don't understand why this is here.
When they say Jim Davis, surely this is in a literal Garfield comic strip.
Yeah.
It's not like Jim Davis said this at a TED Talk or something. I think the idea of Jim Davis giving a TED Talk is really thrilling to me.
Yeah.
But surely these words came out of Garfield's mouth at some point.
Yeah, maybe I'll try to find this comic.
This is baffling to me. I truly don't understand why they're interested in paying for a full page.
Yeah, it's just incredibly wasteful use of space in this catalog for sure.
They love Garfield.
Yeah, I think that's
they
what
must,
it is.
Right? They must really love Garfield.
Huh. I found, the thing is, there are a bunch of apocryphal Garfield quotes, right? Like, I Googled vegetables are a must on a diet in quotes and image searched that. And there's like a picture of Garfield reclining with his hand on his belly that says, "Forgot to go to the gym today. That makes 7 years in a row." And like, I guarantee that wasn't in a fucking Garfield comic. That's just one of those, you know how you know how all the people who are anti-vaxxers who are dying of COVID, when you go to their Facebook pages, it all has like misattributed
Albert
peanuts.
Einstein. Oh, the peanuts things.
Yeah.
No,
it'll all like have
those
have,
are
like,
terrifying.
fake comics of like Lucy saying to Linus like anti-vax shit or whatever.
Yeah. It'll just be someone has whited out the speech bubbles in a regular Peanuts panel, and it'll say like, the vaccines give you 5G chips, and that's how the lizard people track you.
Right. Says Lucy from Peanuts. But let's be clear. I don't think this quote is from a Garfield comic. I think it is just something Jim Davis said.
Wow. Can you tell us, can you find the source? Is this in his like autobiography or an interview he gave at some point? This is real journalism, what we're doing right now.
I don't know. Can you help me with this?
So there are many places on the internet where this is quoted in the same way that some of those fake Albert Einstein quotes. You know, you can't really find a source because one doesn't exist, but you can see lots of people just randomly attributing a quote to Einstein or Abraham Lincoln or something.
Sure, yeah.
But I did find one place where a version of this is quoted is on a list of hilarious Thanksgiving jokes. And it's quoted as, "Vegetables are essential to the diet. I recommend the pumpkin pie, pumpkin bread, and carrot cake."
So he didn't say this.
I bet not. I mean, maybe there's some amount of digging that someone could do that would turn up an actual source. But some other jokes on this hilarious Thanksgiving jokes list are Thanksgiving with the gynecologist. The turkey has expanded to 4 inches and is full. Let's eat. What the fuck?
Well, that's one of 2 of these sort of completely extraneous pages in this catalog. The other is a page 51. The backdrop for this one is, again, sort of darkened with some sort of gray overlay. A ground up picture of a bunch of daisies with the large quote atop it that says, "The day the Lord created hope was probably the same day he created spring," attributed to Bernard Williams. I don't know. I think invoking the Lord in your catalog's a little weird too, right?
Well, ready to go shopping tomorrow. I just knocked my grandmother to the ground. Hilarious. That belongs on the list of the most hilarious Thanksgiving jokes of all time.
Huh.
Do I know who Bernard Williams is?
He's like a English philosopher.
And do you think he said this?
Well,
what do you think are the odds?
No, I'm now questioning all information in this catalog. All right, well, looking past these two, like, completely baffling pages.
Wow, I desperately want to know how they decided these two things
are the
most
quotes.
Important things.
This fake quote from Garfield and an invocation of the Lord. Like, let's say if there were 4 or 5 of these pages in this catalog, it would seem more like a design theme than the 2 pages over the course of, an 80-page catalog.
Well, especially when it's like a moral philosopher from the mid-20th century and
Garfield.
The Garfield cartoonist. Those are the 2.
Yeah, those are the main guys. That's where you get your wisdom. All right, well, let's read a few descriptions. What if we go to their cover crops section, which is one of their featured sections?
Great. I love cover crops. And that's not a category we often read.
That's true. So it's on page 45, and they lead in with saying, "What's all the buzz about cover crops?" Which I think there's supposed to be like a pollinator pun there, maybe?
Yeah, I think so.
Cover crops are an essential part of soil health, with a wide variety of benefits and uses in gardens, pastures, and agricultural cropland. From adding important nutrients and organic matter back into the soil to protecting the soil from harmful erosion, cover crops play an important role in the overall health of our ecosystems. And then they have a bunch listed here, and they show the seed packet design for these, which I think is actually very nice.
Yeah, it's a nice, clean seed packet design. I mean, they're not trying to show you a picture of the crop because you don't care, presumably.
Right, yeah, exactly. But they look good. I bet these were designed more recently than their word mark for
they have a very contemporary design sensibility, I think. They've got a bunch of codes. They've designed logos for nitrogen fixer, erosion protection, organic matter, pest control, soil aeration, improves microbial health, attracts pollinators, and suppresses weeds. And then these little icons are displayed next to each description. But I can't tell if the colors are meaningful.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Do you want to read a few of the descriptions?
All right, well, I'll just begin at the beginning with Austrian winter peas. Commonly planted with winter rye or spring oats, field peas are a great source of nitrogen and a fast-growing cover option, also known as field peas. Annual rye, one of the most forgiving cover crops you can grow, grows quickly, providing soil cover and soil organic matter.
I want to read hairy vetch.
Hell yeah.
Because it sounds less appealing than almost any other plant I've ever... Hairy vetch. A unique and delicate cover crop. Not what I expected. A unique and delicate cover crop offering numerous benefits to soil health. Also provides beautiful purple flowers for pollinators.
Yeah, hairy vetch is a classic nitrogen fixer. I've never planted it, though. Maybe I should.
Maybe.
One of these days. Not here. There's no point.
There's also crimson clover. Beautiful plant with bright red blooms, benefit both soil health and native pollinators. Provides protection from erosion while adding nitrogen back into the soil.
Groundhog brand radish. Groundhog radishes naturally till the soil. They are also great at suppressing weeds and are sometimes called forage radish.
When they say something naturally tills the soil, they mean it like the root system like pushes through a bunch of soil and like aerates it and shit.
Yeah. Yeah, people will plant things that have really strong tap roots to try to break up compacted soil.
Gotcha.
Buckwheat. White clover is a commonly used and effective cover crop. It provides a strong defense against erosion and adds nitrogen back into the soil. It is also a food source for pollinators. Thing is, that description for buckwheat, buckwheat isn't white clover.
I don't know.
No, it's definitely not. They accidentally put the white clover description, which is
That's a mistake.
word for word the same as the one under white clover. Anyway, buckwheat's not white clover.
That's a printing error. We've discovered it.
Damn.
Well, dock them some points, I guess.
How about yellow blossom sweet clover? Yellow blossom sweet clover performs and functions similarly to other clovers. This variety is winter and drought hardy, provides a strong food source for pollinators.
Performs similarly to other clovers. Wow, great stuff.
Yeah, that
Great
one's
copy.
pretty uninformative.
You're really just digging down deep to find something to say at that point.
Wow, wait, hold on. Spring oats. Oats are often used as a cover crop in rotation with vegetables because they grow quickly and are easy to terminate.
Oh, wow.
That's
pretty ominous. Would you describe me as easy to terminate? I haven't proven it so yet, but...
I haven't tried, but...
I feel like it would be pretty easy for you.
I guess I just want to mention, it's not like these cover crops have notably shorter descriptions than anything else in the catalog. I do think that's representative of the length of descriptions we're typically getting. I think they keep it short and sweet, basically.
Sure. All right. Well, before we go, Allison, you sent me a really nasty tweet during church this morning. Will you tell everyone about it?
It's a tweet from Effie Seberg, and it says, "The result of mad botany is a new type of pineapple that looks like it's made of people." And it's a Del Monte brand Pink Glow pineapple. And when you cut into its flesh, it is indeed pink. Like, it looks like a raw ham inside.
Do you remember watermelon ham?
Yeah.
This is grosser than that.
People should smoke one of these pineapples to make...
Yeah, not a bad idea. The thing is that the watermelon ham, okay, it looks like ham.
Man, looks like ham being enough is such a weird take.
But this one has like internal texture that makes it seem like it's a bunch of like compressed flesh in some way.
That's like what pineapples look like, but once it is that color, it becomes disgusting.
All right. So, yeah, we just wanted to be nasty before we signed off.
Yeah, we should try to remember to retweet that when this episode comes out.
And of course, if you're so inclined, you can elect to follow us on Twitter at @CDBusiness or on Instagram at CDBusinessPod, or email us at cdbusinesspod@gmail.com. Let us know about any particular fun catalogs. Leave us a review. We'll certainly read it. And assuming they are indistinguishable from compressed human flesh, you should eat your vegetables.
We're all just doing the best we can.
Speak for yourself.
It's city business. It's city business. Boring talk about seeds, city talk between boys. Mind-numbing chatter about our mules and spores. We'll dig a ditch and moan and split the